the band's Guitarist, and I just want to spend a few minutes time taking you through the rig that I use when we turn up and we play at your wedding or event. I suppose the biggest and most unusual thing about what we do that's different to a lot of bands is that this thing down here, many of you will know as a traditional guitar amplifier, we tend not to use those. And there's a very, very simple reason for that. And that is that to make them sound good, you have to push them to the kind of top kind of third of their volume range, which is fine. It's great for me as a guitarist because I love playing loud. However, one thing we're very, very conscious of is that it's not a kind of Wembley Stadium rock gig. We're there to be part of your night, but not to kind of dominate it to any degree that it's uncomfortable for people to listen to. So one of the things we've started doing probably about 5 or 6 years ago is using a product by a band called Line 6. They make this incredible little device down here called the Helix, and what the Helix allows us to do is to simulate one of these things, but be able to control the volume in a much more measured and appropriate way. What it also allows us to do is be very, 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 very consistent with our sound. They don't go wrong, touch wood, whereas these things have got quite a bad reputation for valves going midway through sets, which obviously breaks up the momentum of your evening. So yeah, we made the decision a while ago to go for these Line 6 products, which are absolutely awesome. They allow you to get a huge range of sounds, which is really, really important when we're doing cover sets. So I'm going to take you through over the next 2 or 3 minutes a few of the different sounds that we use, down to this device down here. This is the kind of floor controller for this thing in the rack. I'm going to take you through probably 2 or 3 of my favourite guitars. I've got a collection of 40 plus now, so I'm very, very, very lucky to have access to some incredible instruments, and I take those out on the road with me often, but there's 2 or 3 that are always in my guitar rack and come on pretty much every show with me, whether it's a wedding show, a function show, a church show, whatever it is. I think there's 2 guitars that I particularly love and come with me everywhere. This is one of them. It's a Fender Stratocaster, but it's significantly modified. Those of you that are guitar nuts will recognise that it's not a standard guitar. It's got these weird controls on it just there and there, and what they allow me to do is to make it sound first of all like an acoustic guitar, which is really useful to us when we're doing certain songs, and it's not an appropriate opportunity to change to a physically different guitar to an acoustic guitar, so we can create that. That's an example of some of the things that this guitar does a little bit differently to many others. But on the same rule, it can really make some big rock sounds. So Living on a Prayer, for example, when we get to the guitar sound. So it can also do those kind of really, really big rock sounds. One of the other sounds that we use quite a lot with this guitar, Sweet Child of Mine, kind of that slightly less power than the Living on a Prayer solo, but that kind of sustainy overdrive sound, so for real big rock songs like Sweet Child. So this is a guitar really that can do anything. It cleans up really, really nicely. I use this for a lot of stuff, such as classic Brown Eyed Girl. And so forth. Kind of got a kind of nice country twang to it, that one. Some really cool kind of clean sounds out of it. Other things we've got on there, we use a patch. You will know the Walk the Moon. Shut Up and Dance, and a similar sort of sound for Ed Sheeran. Beginning of Castle on the Hill, and what you saw me doing there was just kind of tapping this thing on the floor. What that allows me to do is to sync the echo, so you'll listen to this sound, you've got a very, very defined echo. That pedal down here allows me to change the speed of that echo to match the tempo of the song. So if I'm doing a really slow song, or a really fast song, I can adjust that speed. So that gives me a really, really versatile bank of sounds to play with. There's lots more sounds that I use in there. Often we do quite a bit of rock and roll music in our set. And that's kind of ranging from Elvis, Buddy Holly through to more recent Bryan Adams and even Bruno Mars sort of sound. And so forth, and that's a really, really good sound that I can kind of do some. Yeah, really, really, really great tone for that as well. So they're the kind of basic sounds that I would use on a gig to gig. They're just great sounds, and they cover pretty much anything that we encounter with this particular band. What I'll do now is I'll get a couple of different guitars and show you probably my two of the favourites and the ones that I use the most. So this is my custom Fender Red Stratocaster. I'll show you one of my Telecasters and a new addition to the collection, another guitar made by Fender but called an EVH after Eddie Van Halen, who of course was famous for the song Jump. So I'll go and get those now and we'll have a quick look at those. So this is my Fender Telecaster. This is probably one of only 3 guitars that I've got a sentimental attachment to. This one rarely leaves my side, and the reason for that is I bought this in Nashville on one of my first trips to the US. It was one of the first guitars in the States that I bought. And it's a slight variation on the standard Telecaster in that it's got a different pickup here. These are the 2 pickups that a Telecaster has. The Stratocaster has 3, but a Telecaster only has 2. And this has got a humbucker in the back, which allows me to get more sounds out of this guitar than a typical Telecaster would offer if I was playing it. These guitars, this particular series of guitar was designed for pro players as a flight guitar, and what that means is that when you fly, particularly in the US, musicians fly around a lot rather than using transport as we do. It allows you just to take one guitar to cover all eventualities. So this often comes out towards the back end of our set, whereby we've got a lot of songs of different styles and that require different guitar tones. So as an example, with Don't Stop Believing, we've got that. That kind of big rock sound, but also we do at that point, I Will Survive often comes in, which has got that. But we use different tones at that point of the set, so this guitar really lends itself to that. I'll give it another example of when we use it. So yeah, one of the sounds that I use quite a lot, again particularly at the end of the set, is the sound of my favourite guitarist. I hope it sounds a little bit like it. Let me find it. Is this one of the songs we do is that. To make that a bit more authentic, put a bit of echo on it. Brian May, we play Bohemian Rhapsody and Don't Stop Me Now fairly regularly at the end of the set, and again this is a guitar that allows me to kind of really get that Brian May crunch sound. So. And so forth. I'll show you my new guitar because I'm really, really in love with this one at the moment. I'll go and get it. So this is the latest addition to my guitar collection. As I say, it's very, very, very different to any guitar I've ever had before, but I've fallen in love with it. It's, I say, it's an EVH model, but they're made by Fender over in the US, I believe. Other than the tonal qualities and the sound that this makes, one of the biggest differences is how light it is. Something that's people don't realise is actually when you've got a slab of wood this heavy around your neck for 2.5 hours, which is the length of some of the shows that we do, it can give you backache. So this is, from a pure comfort point of view, a really, really nice guitar to play. It's geared up for slightly heavier stuff. I probably wouldn't use this for much of the clean stuff, like, you know, I played Brown Eyed Girl and things like that earlier on, and the Ed Sheeran things. It's not really a guitar that's suitable for this, but when it comes to things, I'm trying to think of some of the heavier stuff, like the Darkness is a really good example of that. So forth. This is a really great guitar for that. It's got, I touched on the last guitar, that Telecaster, that it had a humbucker in the bridge position. This has actually got 2 humbuckers in, and if I switch between them you can hear the difference in sound, and again this is about giving me, the guitarist, the maximum range of sounds that I can use in whatever song it is that I play at the time. So if I kind of put this switch down here, you get that quite a harsh, very cutting sound, like, think of an example. Living on a Prayer, and then if I switch to the middle one, we get this sound. Which is perhaps a little more meaty, and then you've got almost a bell-like tone when you switch that switch up there. Again, this is probably a guitar that I would choose. I touched on Sweet Child of Mine, which is one of the songs that we do a lot. It really is the perfect guitar for that. Many of you will know Gibson guitars. We've got a range, I say, in the 40 plus guitars that we've got here, we've got a range of Gibsons, and I do occasionally take those out on us, on a gig with us, but we find they're just not quite versatile enough for when we're doing a big cover set. They might be great for 1 or 2 songs, but the 3 guitars that I've shown you are the kind of the mainstay of the stuff that I'm touring with at the moment, and it just allows me to, I say, just to cover literally every eventuality. I do like taking out, I've got a Gibson 335 that I take out quite regularly, that makes a great sound as well, and we've got a Gretsch semi-acoustic as well that makes great noise, but they're just not appropriate for a lot of the stuff that we do, and therefore they don't get as much rack time as we like. What we do is use them quite a bit in the studio, so if you see us doing studio videos, which we do quite regularly, you'll notice that we use a lot of guitars in the studio that we don't necessarily use live, and again that's more down to versatility than the fact they're not great guitars. In fact, the most expensive guitars that we own are not regularly featured live, not because of the quality but just because of the sounds. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into what we do, how it all works, and yeah. Any questions, send us a message, and if I can, I will certainly help out and give an answer if I'm able to. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you at a gig very soon. Thanks.